about that what they've done get lost. I was at a reception for people involved in infrastructure the conference.
20
and
past
one very
8.
senior man said to me, he
Yeah,
said, actually, myself and my colleagues do not care who's the flavoured of the month at the moment.
20 minutes for the
we are
bus.
just wanting to get on with what we're good at. So I think that values of our different
Could I just come back on some of that because some of that is
Just
Mandelson or whatever, you know, reason people well, okay, fine, yeah.
Off, Chris.
Oh crikey, what have you done now?
My clown, Chris, can you please amend your incorrect pronunciation? Galatasaray. It is a composite word, Galata and Sarai. It means Galata Palace, hence pronounced Galatasaray. Emphasis on middle syllable of Galata. I'm a Turkish speaker. Your mispronunciation is driving me nuts.
That is fair enough.
Do you want to say it?
Say it again. I'm so ingrained in saying Galatasaray because that's Galatasaray.
That's my accent. Just get the emphasis.
Galatasaray.
There you go. Thank you, whoever you are.
AI now.
Listen, thank you so much for texting in. Thank you for all of your nightmare sporting journeys. Because, well, go on.
I'm being told that Luke, do you remember who we spoke to earlier? Luke Fury, isn't it? Our Liverpool fan. He's back.
Hello, Luke.
Yeah. You okay? Hello, mate.
How's it going? Because we're talking about your nightmare journey to Galatasaray, if I've been correct.
Yeah.
That's how you pronounce it. Where are you now?
We're in now. We got in about 2 hours and 20 minutes before kick-off, which is extremely early. It's probably the earliest I've ever been to a football match.
Goodness me. And what, is anyone there? Just you?
It started to fill up now. Obviously, all the Liverpool fans, we're all on these buses. We weren't actually allowed to travel at all. Anyway, we had to go because to get access to the stadium.
And how was that? I mean, because there's no toilets on those buses, we're told.
No, there was no toilets. There was a police escort, so a lot of traffic was stopped. So what was meant to be an hour and 20-minute journey was about a 40-50-minute journey. But there was no toilets, nothing like that. A lot of people sat down on the bus. So there weren't many seats on the bus. There's probably only about 20 seats and about 50 or 60 was crammed on each bus.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, it wasn't a
Did it take some of you? What did you lose?
Yeah, so I left most of the night into the hotel. A few of us brought some stuff to try and just see, just stuff like power banks and stuff, just chance our luck with it. So on the way into the bus, there was just minor searches. When we got here, it was 3 searches to access the stadium. So the first was like a soft search / ticket check, then followed by like a more bigger search, and then another search after the turns down by police, that was. And that was like more like festival style search, you know, checking all your pockets, taking all your stuff out, emptying all your bags. Anyone with any Galatasaray merchandise, that's hats, scarves, anything like that, it's all into them because no one was wearing it, which is fair enough. It's more football tribalism. We don't really have that in the UK as much anymore.
No.
Liverpool and European Liverpool fans who travel away from Europe do often collect hats and scarves and teachers and mementos. That's all been seized the gates.
We've been talking about the biggest nightmare journeys, actually. How does this compare? Because I presume you've had other nightmare journeys in the past.
Yeah. This is up there, definitely.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Napoli away, I think we were about 4 hours early to kick off, so this is probably number 2.
Right.
But yeah, it wasn't the greatest.
Well, you must love your team, Luke.
Yeah,
You're going through for them.
Exactly.
I'm second guessing myself now.
Well, at least
the game's wasted.
We're helping you pass the time, mate. That's
definitely.
we're doing our job.
I had a Turkish tea and a kebab, so I'm sure everyone else has as well.
It can't be that bad. All right, take care, Luke. Enjoy the game. Nice one, mate. Thanks a lot, Luke Fury.
Cheerful, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's called his Uno.
Yeah.
Playing that in the stands.
Turkish tea, kebab, bad words Tuesday.
Got a moan about. Right, yeah, we've got live commentary of that match later on, by the way. 8 o'clock kickoff, I think, from the top of my head, which we've been in problems with me doing in the past, but...
I'm not joining in on that one. We'll be running around.
6:28. Donald and Chris Norberton. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Back to the States, just about the news headline at 6:30. The United States appears to be getting closer to a government shutdown tonight. The last-ditch meeting between President Donald Trump and Democratic leader Congress. If anything,
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. That's
Julia
really
Manchester and of course Senator Hill, based in Washington, D.C. Hi, Julia.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for having me. Well, this is all about negotiations between Republicans and Democrats for reasons and purposes have failed. So essentially, last week we saw the House Republicans pass a continuing resolution that would send to the government for a short-term period. Now, House Democrats voted against that resolution because they are demanding that Obamacare subsidies, that's the healthcare system, obviously, with the Affordable Care Act, which was created by President Obama, be extended, and that the cuts to Medicaid in President Trump's reconciliation package that was passed earlier this year, the Senate Democrats have also demanded that. Republicans are not budging on that. They're essentially telling Democrats, take it or leave it. So each side is accusing the other of shutting down the government or voting to shut down the government. That vote in the Senate today, since they've already voted in the House, will take place at 5 p.m. Eastern time, is very much likely to shut down. We don't really see any deal in the works that Democrats met with President Trump yesterday. And basically, going forward, at midnight tonight, funding could run out.
I mean, I know you were here before the last time the government supplemented with the leading Trump term. Remind us what happened then and what would happen now if it was there was no agreement.
So the government does technically shut down, however, essential workers are still employed. It's not like, for example, you'd see Transportation Service Administration, also known as the TSA, they're essentially airport security. They would still have to come to work. The Postal Service would still continue. However, what the government deems as non-essential workers would be furloughed. So, for example, national park services would likely be shut down. You'd see a number of government programs that help benefit government workers would be paused or shut down. And just to add on another layer to this, this time around in 2025, that's different from 2018, you have the administration threatening to furlough or lay off more federal workers and make Trump to furlough or cuts that were made earlier this year with Elon Musk, the Department of Government
Thanks so much for joining us. Really important next few hours over in Washington, D.C. Julia Manchester, of course, Senator Hill, based in Washington. Barbara said, can you explain, please? I thought the Republicans had a majority. Why do they need Democratic votes to pass the budget? Barbara, it's because they don't have enough votes in the Senate, basically. They're short of 60 votes on this one, so that is why there is a standoff. But thank you so much for your text. It's 5 Live Drive, just after 6:30. Let's get the news headlines.
The Voice of the UK.
It's BBC Radio 5 Live. Sir Keir Starmer's warned Britain faces a choice between decency and division. Prime Minister warned the government is involved in a fight for the soul of the country during his speech at the Labour Party conference in Liverpool. Reform's leader Nigel Farage has accused the Prime Minister of labelling Reform voters as racists and says he's unfit for the job. A senior Hamas figure has told the BBC the group is likely to reject Donald Trump's peace plan for Gaza. Earlier, the US president told reporters Hamas would face a very sad end if it didn't support the proposals which Israel is backing. A migrant who travelled to the UK by small boat and later attacked asylum hotel staff in Essex has been jailed for 16 weeks. 32-year-old Mohammed Shawat assaulted 4 people in the Bell Hotel in August, which has been the subject of protests in recent weeks. And the Maze Force is investigating after the word terrorist was spray painted onto the statue of Mahatma Gandhi in London. India's High Commission has demanded immediate action be taken against the vandals responsible. Let's get the sports news from Eddie.
And we start with football then. Arne Slot's Liverpool side will look to continue their perfect start to this season's Champions League campaign. They're in Istanbul to take on the Turkish champion Galatasaray. Our senior football reporter Ian Dennis will be commentating on tonight's match and joins us to look ahead.
Yes, sir.
Well, as you might be all together, we're in one of the loudest stadiums in European football that awaits Liverpool for the second game of this Champions League phase. I wouldn't mind, but it's probably only a third full so far. It's a giant
this one.
like arena. It holds nearly
What number was the technical brother?
C9 or C10.
Galatasaray have
But
5
sometimes C9
ex-Premier League players
take so
in
long,
their
so
squad, including Ilkay
across the
Gundogan
road
and
and
Leroy
get
Sané,
C10 down
who
there.
joined in the summer. Expecting a number of changes for Liverpool. Hugo Ekitike is set for return from suspension.
Can I meet you at the
Liverpool
station
lost their
tomorrow?
unbeaten record at the weekend. They also had to contend with fireworks being set up outside their team hotel in the early hours. It won't be any quiet tonight.
Yeah, it sounds like a terrific atmosphere. You can hear Ian in commentary on 5 Live Sports later. Jose Mourinho will take on his former side Chelsea. He returns to Stamford Bridge with Benfica. John Southall is there.
He does. Good evening. He's just doing a TV interview just down on the touchline, about 100 yards away from us on the right-hand side. Important game though, this Champions League night for Chelsea after defeating Munich on match day 1. But it's all about the return of Jose. He should get a good reception. Manager here, of course, in 2 spells, during which time he delivered 7 trophies, including 3 league titles. The current crop need a win tonight. It's 1 victory in the last 5, and that was against Lincoln. They also need to keep 11 players on the pitch. They've had a player sent off in the last 2 league games. Should be fascinating, this one this evening. And one thing is for sure, Jose will enjoy being back on this stage.
And Tottenham are in Norway to face Bodo Glimt, making their debut in the competition. John Akers will be keeping across that one.
5 months after meeting in the semi-finals of the Europa League, Spurs back in the Norwegian Arctic Circle to face one of 4 clubs making their Champions League debuts this season. Lovely led Tottenham to a 2-0 win here back in May. Dominic Solanke tonight, he's had minor surgery. Captain travelled as a precaution, and Spurs fans were treated to the Northern Lights last night and walked to the ground from the airport for the most northernmost game ever in the Champions League proper.
Thank you, John. To cricket and the Women's World Cup, where India are floated in on victory against co-host Sri Lanka. Henry Moran is there and can bring us the details.
188 for 8 is the Sri Lanka score. They require a further 83 runs from 54 balls, which is not going to happen. And at the moment, it's just about batting time, really, seeing how close they can get to India's first innings total. That was a little bit shaky, it has to be said, but a good partnership. Rather rescued things. Deepti Sharma and Amanjot Kaur scoring half centuries. Sri Lanka have given it a good go, but they are going to fall short here in the tournament opener. 188 for 8 is the score, 83 needed for 52.
And Great Britain's Finlay Mingus won the 100 metres bronze in his frame running classification at the World Para-Athletics Championships in Delhi. Competitors in the event use a 3-wheeled frame with a saddle and body plates providing support. Its Paralympic debut in Los Angeles in 2028. And that's the latest from BBC Sport.
Eddie, thanks very much indeed. Thank you so much for all your texts on nightmare journeys to and from sporting events. This is after Liverpool fans have had quite the journey to Galatasaray this evening. Have you been looking at the reportage from the Athens Olympic Games, Chris?
I've got the 9.
Okay.
Do you want to...
Is it fair to read out the names?
I've got them in front of me.
Okay.
We're going to be none the wiser.
I know. Well, I don't know. We might squeeze some information out.
No, actually, now I look at it,
Yeah.
I think I know who it is, but that's only because I think they follow me on Twitter.
What? How did you work it out from that?
because I recognise the name.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm not going to put it to the test on live radio. That seems unfair.
We have got some fantastic Nightmare Journeys. Listen to this one, Craig. Nightmare Journey, late 80s. We were going to an FA Cup replay against then champions Everton at Ayrton Park, Middlesbrough. En route, we crashed our car. I ended up in Middlesbrough General Hospital, which was right next to the ground as it happened. I was able to hear the roar as we, Middlesbrough, took an amazing lead. I was allowed out with my broken arm in cast. I was able to get into the last 5 minutes just in time to cut break. Everton scored a late equaliser, scored in Spain, which was pushed to West afterwards, got his arm put in the cast, still running for the last 5 minutes, and then watched the loss. That's a nightmare.
Like a movie, isn't it? I mean, a low-grade movie.
Yeah.
But still, Dave in Bristol, lifelong Spurs fan. In '78, I lived in Gosport, Hampshire, when we signed Ozzy Ardiles and Ricky Villa. First home game was a Wednesday night. I got the ferry to Portsmouth, train to London. We lost 4-1 to Villa. The last train from Waterloo arrived, Portsmouth at 1 a.m. Too late for the last ferry to Gosport. I rested on a park bench until the first ferry at 6 a.m. and I was at work by 8. Never texted before, but loved the show.
I bet you were fragrant walking into the office.
Morning all.
Hello.
Ready for action.
I've caught that ferry many times. Anyway, keep them coming in. We've got about 20 minutes left. 85058 Nightmare Journeys. Talking of which, is Sarah.
Thank you, Claire. Yeah, it is a bit Glasgow because there's been this shed load of hay across the M8 and it's closed. It's the side that's closed from and through from Paisley towards Glasgow. So that's a long delay we're seeing there both ways. But also you can't join the M8 from the M77 at Dumbreck. So that's very slow towards the top of that side of the carriageway. Then the A66, we are still dealing with a closure here following an accident. They're still investigating. This is going to be ongoing, I think, a few more hours between Bowes and the A1M at Scotch Corner. Towards Bradford, the M60.
yeah, they
On the
are
road.
scared and they act in a
Yes.
different way. And it's not related to a dog. And with the fighting dogs, it's the same. They learn to show aggressive behavior towards other dogs.
Yeah, yeah.
But that doesn't say anything of the behavior towards the beginning of the process, like the first 2 weeks, we just let the dog connect to their trainer. So they get one or two people that are assigned to the dog that do the most for them. So they have sort of an owner, a safe human for them. And in the first 2 weeks, just getting used to the environment. Our facility is at a forest, so we just walk a lot with them, we play with them, we just learn what the dog is like without any triggers present. And in those first few weeks, we also are going to look for what is rewarding the dog.
And how long can they typically be with you, you know, through the whole of the rehabilitation period before then they might be rehomed?
Also depends on the dog. I think the one that's the longest was with us over a year.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as long as they show progress, and we think this is going to be a rehomable dog at one point, because we evaluate every month, like how did the dog do, and we have we don't really have a list of what a dog needs to be doing, but it has to be safe. We always look at the welfare of the dog. If we have a dog that is of a typical breed that's difficult to rehome with behavior, I mean, a dog like Ruby, you can place her in a very busy environment, so you have to look at something quiet, so there's not a lot of places like that, so it's going to take longer to rehome a dog like this. So the welfare in the kennel has to be good. When a dog has difficulties with being alone in the kennel or showing a lot of stress, we also take that in consideration. And of course the dog has to be medically fit.
Yeah, understood. And that must, clearly you're not always going to get there, as you explained, with every dog, are you? But it must be an amazing feeling, Hella, when you do.
Yeah, it definitely is. And in the beginning, we always try to rule out the medical stuff. So we take them for x-rays, we go to the vets, we get them checked out completely, so we don't, pain is a big factor in behavior. So if a dog's in pain, the chances of showing aggression are much higher. So we always want to rule that out. And when you see a dog coming in, it always, I think it's a beautiful thing that a dog is always living in the now and not in the past, because they're always open for you to teach them something new instead of just relying on what happened in the past.
What a very good way of finishing it. That was Hella van
I need to go back up this road.
who is at that centre in the Netherlands, helps care for and rehabilitate fighting dogs. She does tremendous work, clearly, there, and the dedication she must show to do that. That all comes, that interview that we decided to do back of that documentary I mentioned. If you want to watch the documentary in full, it's Spotlight Dogfighting Exposed. That's what it's called. Dogfighting Exposed is available now on the BBC iPlayer. It's 6:48.
Champions League football tonight with three English clubs in action. Spurs are away to Norwegian champions Bodo Glimt. Chelsea are at home to
hungry.
Mourinho's Benfica. And our commentary is coming from Turkey, where Galatasaray will be providing an intimidating atmosphere for Liverpool. Former Scotland winger Pat Nevin is in position at Rams Park in Istanbul and joins us now. Pat, hello.
Hello, and just to run things for you, I was once told by the chairman of Galatasaray, that's how you say it.
Oh, go on, say that again, say it again.
Galatasaray.
Galatasaray.
Yeah, no, that was a long time ago, but it was the chairman of the club for
Well,
that.
he doesn't know, then he does. Stick that in the pronunciation pot. Now, renowned for being a very intimidating atmosphere, how does it rank for you? And also, how long did it take you to get in? Pat?
5 minutes.
Get the VIP lane.
You know, up in media, it's a wee bit better organised. I have to say, Our team here did very well because they came around last night, set everything up, did all the right things, so we didn't have to do anything particularly difficult apart from walk up, I would say about 500 steps, but apart from that, you know, it was absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Beautiful stadium.
There's been a lot of security though, hasn't there? And a lot of the Liverpool fans pretty unhappy about the way they've been treated, having to shuttle in on buses that can take over an hour, no toilets on the buses, and being kind of, you know, everything, shake your pockets out basically before you get in there. Do you understand the caution that's been taken here?
I understand there are fears, and we've all been to these ones before where, you know, they hear that there's been problems with certain fans, and they don't just think, they're not saying Liverpool fans, they're just saying, oh, British fans or English fans or whatever. And it was a long time ago a lot of the time, so they can be overprotective. But I have to say, it's been very welcoming by most people. It's a lovely country to visit most of the time, but people get a little bit shaky when it's Champions League night. I know, I've seen it before, we've all witnessed it before, and it's a real shame because the vast majority of people in most cities are very
Hi, can I help? Hello?
incredibly welcome.
What would you like?
Yeah, you know, suffering, you know, it feels terrible.
Spicy chicken, burger meal.
What drink?
What is the spicy one called?
Spicy chicken.
Burger. What it's called?
Mixed spicy.
Mixed spicy.
Mixed spicy.
Max spicy. Okay. All right.
Drink would you like?
Give me the orange juice, please.
Orange juice, yeah. Anything else?
No.
Have a lovely day, mate.
Alright, cheers.
In their last 8 games, so how do you think this one's going to square up tonight?
Getting some Mac days. Oh, my days.
Comfortably, but they have to play at their best because obviously Gallagher going to raise themselves for this game. The fans are going to be, you know, really noisy. Gallagher had a terrible start. You know, they beat 5-1 every time, tried to flank up. But they've got a lot of players that we're aware of. Lamina, Pereira, Gundogan, of course, we know very, very well. Sani, who I don't think will play tonight. There's plenty of names and faces that we know from English football, but it's a different level when you play against Liverpool. And we'll see what kind of team Liverpool put out. If they put a somewhere close to this form this tonight, and they play well, we should win this game. But that's a couple of bits we've already got on there.
Yeah, let's just have a quick word while we've got you, Pat, on Chelsea tonight. What kind of reception do you think Mourinho is going to get from the Blues fans this evening?
That's a really interesting one. Look, he should get a great reception for all he's done for that football club, but you know, he then became Man United manager, and then becomes Spurs manager, which doesn't always go down that well with Chelsea fans. But you know, as time goes on, you know, the decades of years and the decades run by, people will recognise that he was an incredibly pivotal figure in that club changing from a decent football club to a club that would look upon as a world-class football.
Do you have any ketchup, please?
Right there at the start of it, and yeah, I'm not saying put Chelsea on the map, but if it was in the worldwide spotlight. So that's exactly what Chelsea fans should.
Do I get the sweet and sour as well? Can I have one? Sweet and sour.
I understand that.
I think we'll hear that little, I'm sure, later. Pat, have a great match.
Thank you.
So much for joining us. Former Scotland winner Pat Nevin is already at Ramspark in Istanbul. Reminded full commentary of Galatasaray, Liverpool tonight on 5 Live Sport, and we'll also keep you updated with all the action from all of tonight's Champions League games.
We will, and just hearing that music in the background, I've been to a lot of gigs this year, like I always do, but the best gig I went to was some Anatolian psychedelic folk. Derya Yildirim. It was an amazing, full-on night. It was electric. Sort of, yeah, just hearing that maybe. But this is relatable content, isn't it, Claire? Tonight,
bit niche, Chris, bit niche.
Tonight it was so good, honestly. Tonight with Tony from 10:30. After the leader's speech, he'll be looking ahead for what to expect from Labour's final day of their conference. There's news of a new Ozzy Osbourne tribute made of 10,000 pumpkins, whatever that's all about. Plus more musical fun with the musicologist Joe Bennett from midnight.
This is the voice of the UK. 5 Live Drive.
With Clive McDonald and Chris Warburton. Listen at BBC Sounds.
Oh, man.
Music. Spady pig, Spady pig. Does whatever a Spady pig does. Can he swing from a web? No, we can't. He's a pig. Look out. He is a spider pig.
Well, that was from the very first Simpsons movie. The very first, there's only been one, in 2007. It's been a bit of a wait, but 20th Century Studios and Disney have announced they'll be releasing a second film 20 years later in July 2027. So it's not even just around the corner. We've still got to wait a couple of years.
I thought it was about to come out.
No. We can speak to Jane Crowther, editor-in-chief of film magazine Hollywood Authentic. Hello, Jane.
Hello, yes.
She a dirty young gal, them a dirty young gal.